All right, today, guys, we have something really special. I'm showing my loadout in case anybody's curious, but it is November 22nd. Well, technically it's 2:40 a.m. So, like 3 days ago, on Thursday, I believe, or Wednesday on the reset, they dropped an update that made the Mythic Storm King very difficult. So, the Mythic Storm King is a zone entwined now. You have to do the challenge to unlock him. It's 2 mini boss kills in a 140 plus zone, and then it gives you a challenge to defeat the Mythic Storm King. He is a 140 zone, 4-player in Twine. And then everything in the zone is 160. I'm going to link my video below on the fight. That was our successful run. It starts midway through, but you didn't really miss anything important. We just took out a few crystals. So if you want to see some gameplay of us earning this weapon, check that out in the description below. We are one of the exclusive few who got it this early. But I unlocked the Storm King's Scourge. This is, if I'm not mistaken, the first AR that has a cooling rate ability. So that came with the pulsar pistol and the bubblegum looking thing, and the deatomizer has a heat capacity, so it never actually reloads. I'm not sure how many weapons have this, but this one definitely does, and it takes energy ammo to fire. This weapon is incredibly unique and one of the only 5 mythic weapons to be added to the game. So the Scourge is the assault rifle, and then you've got the pistol, the RPG, which is very powerful. Then you've also got the club and the sword. So you got 2 melees, 2 ranged weapons, and then the RPG, which I don't technically consider a ranged weapon. So these are the perks that I went with right away. It has a decent normal crit chance, just 10% base, and then the crit damage is, I think, pretty high, but we're getting boosted by the crit damage. So, I mean, that's I think a normal-ish crit damage. I also have a plus 75% in my support. So it's really good in terms of base damage and crit. It's all, normal, trending towards the high end. A 10 fire rate is really decent, and then it has a special ability where every 5 hits, it applies a charge. Now, this is extremely interesting because every 5 hits, I can show some gameplay on footage, every 5 hits, it'll explode out, dealing 100% of the weapon damage to nearby enemies. But if you switch enemies and just sort of, scan across a crowd and hit more than one enemies, between bullets, it'll actually explode on every single target switch, which means when there's a crowd of enemies, all you gotta do is pan left to right to take out every single zombie in the horde, which is almost more powerful than focusing on a single enemy. It has a really cool sound, really cool feel. It's a really accurate weapon, and, obviously there's no reload speed. So if you actually pace your shots and don't spam it too hard, you can go a very long time without ever actually stopping. Now, you can see that I have cooling rate on this, and that's kind of intentional. I was just testing this out, so I now that I've used it in game, I can say that when it comes to the main fight, when we had to actually defend, I found that cooling rate was really nice. If you don't know, cooling rate is effectively reload speed, and then heat capacity would be basically your magazine size. So I don't think heat capacity is going to be that great for this weapon because it's effectively going to delay the inevitable, because you're going to run out of ammo, you're going to be spamming, it's going to happen regardless. So I think cooling rate is probably the one to go for. But if you're careful and you pace your shots, I think an extra crit damage might not be that bad of an idea. Now, you can see that I have fire rate down here. That's because there really aren't that many good options. A 42% fire rate will be more damage per second than damage. If you just want damage per bullet and you really don't want to craft energy ammo, which isn't so bad once they took bacon out of the recipe, damage might be a good way to go. This is not an impact weapon. I don't think there's any point in speccing into impact. But one of the interesting thing about the Storm King weapons is they seem to all have 2 perks for damage to miss monsters and bosses. I'm not saying that's insanely helpful. I don't know that you should really go for miss monsters and bosses. This is a fantastic all-around weapon in general. You don't need that damage to miss monsters and bosses. And honestly, if you go crit damage or double crit damage, you're going to end up doing, if 1/3 of 35% or 38% of 135% is how much damage you're doing, I'll put that number on screen. I'm pretty sure that's higher than the 36% damage to miss monsters and bosses anyway. So it's kind of a useless perk. If they wanted that to be useful, it'd have to be closer to 50% damage to miss monsters and bosses, but that's just my opinion. As for the perk, energy, I'll link my video below on my elements video, and that'll more so explain why I say energy is better, but energy is just better overall. Physical does 20%, 24% more damage to physical enemies, and is better against, like, the Storm King, for example, but spoiler alert, the Storm King Scourge isn't really the one you want to use against the Storm King. So definitely energy to appeal to the most different enemies. So yeah, my recommendation is a crit rating, crit damage build. Fire rate and damage tends to be the same in terms of overall DPS. However, for this weapon, you have a lot of bullets, and because you're constantly jumping between enemies, I think crit rate and crit damage is perfectly fine for this, because it's base damage plus the explosion when you switch is enough damage to cover any times that you're getting unlucky with crits. So I think that's definitely the best way to go. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you beat the Storm King. Let me know what weapons you got, and especially let me know what weapons you're hoping for. You know, unfortunately, as I'm uploading this, I'm going to be going on vacation for a week, so I'm not actually going to be able to run this anymore, but I did just do a 12.5-hour stream helping all you guys try to defeat this. We were successful 4 times, and in total, I helped 8 people get mythic weapons. So maybe not the best numbers, but I tried my best. Thank you guys so much for watching. Check out my other videos. I'm going to be having videos scheduled once a day for the rest of this coming week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day, you guys. Bye.